lawyers and defense attorneys made their final arguments this week in the trial of the Newburgh Four, a high-profile case that has made national headlines as a potent example of so-called homegrown terror. The four men from Newburgh, New York, are charged with plotting to bomb a synagogue and a Jewish community center in the Bronx. U.S. Assistant Attorney David Raskin says the four are, quote, criminally minded people who, quote, wanted to do something to America. But the defense argued they were entrapped by government agents and not predisposed to commit a terrorist crime. The case of the Newburgh Four bears many of the same characteristics of two other recent so-called homegrown terror cases involving Muslim men. The case of the Fort Dix Five, where 5 men from suburban New Jersey were convicted last year of conspiring to kill American soldiers at the Fort Dix Army base, and a case in Albany, New York, where a pizzeria owner and the imam of a local mosque were convicted of money laundering and conspiracy to support terrorism. In all 3 cases, Muslim men were arrested on terror charges. In all 3 cases, no terrorist crime was actually committed. In fact, no one was killed or injured. And all 3 cases rely heavily on hundreds of hours of surveillance secretly recorded by a paid government informant. Well, Democracy Now!'s Anjali Kamat and Big Noise Films' Jackie Suins spent months tracking these 3 stories. Anjali Kamat files this report.
Motivated by hate and bent on killing their neighbors.
According to the FBI, this was a plot to blow up 2 synagogues and a community center, all in the Bronx.
On May 20th, 2009, 4 African-American men from the city of Newburgh, New York, were arrested outside a synagogue in the Bronx. Known as the Newburgh Four, they made national headlines as stark examples of homegrown terror.
Prosecutors described the suspects as extremely violent men who embraced every opportunity for terrorism.
More than a year after their arrest, the Newburgh Four are now facing trial in Manhattan for conspiracy to use weapons of mass destruction and anti-aircraft missiles. But the case has raised serious questions about the government's role in creating and then foiling fake terror plots.
The suspects were duped. The bombs and missile were fake, supplied by the FBI and NYPD.
Alicia McCollum is the aunt of David Williams, one of the Newburgh Four. Since his arrest, she's tried to mobilize support for her nephew. Taking the train to the first day of the trial in August, she's visibly upset.
I was restless last night. I couldn't even sleep. You know, it was just so much. You know, you think about the family and what you're getting ready to go through. And it's like this whole year fighting for the case, and now it's like finally happening. We're going to trial. And just worry, you know, that the government, you know, want to make a case so bad that my nephew can go away for life. So it's just been like heavy on my mind last night, very heavy.
Like the other members of the Newburgh Four, 29-year-old David Williams lived in the economically devastated city of Newburgh and had served prison time on drug charges and petty criminal offenses. All 4 men were converts to Islam, and one of them, Laguerre Payen, is a Haitian-born immigrant and a paranoid schizophrenic. Alicia says she was shocked when she heard that these 4 men were being called terrorists.
Well, I got a call at 3 o'clock, 2009, in May. 3 o'clock at night, and my sister said they kicked in Lissy house. I'm like, who kicked in Lissy house? They was like, the FBI. I'm like, the FBI? What are you talking about? She was like, David, it got something to do with David. It's on the news, so I'm turned the news, and I'm looking at Bronx 12. It kept saying Bronx terror.
Federal agents moved in tonight and say their suspects are homegrown would-be terrorists.
I was cursing my TV out. They kept showing David. They kept showing David. I'm like, oh, my God. It was horrible. You know, I'm like, Homeland Security, the FBI, Bloomberg. We did not turn from the news.
Approaching the courthouse, Alicia, a devout Christian, says a prayer.
Keep your hands on me, Father. Got me through these 6 weeks, Lord. Give me the strength.
The Newburgh case is only one of several high-profile terrorism cases in the New York, New Jersey area. Less than a 3-hour drive from Newburgh is the quiet suburb of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. In May of 2007, it was the center of an FBI raid.
Police arrested 6 men and charged them with planning to attack the Fort Dix Army base.
4 of the 6 were of Albanian descent, and they're suspected of being Islamic fundamentalists.
This is a new kind of terrorism. It is not only coming from outside the United States in, but it is also growing inside our own country.
These homegrown terrorists can prove to be as dangerous as any known group, if not more so.
It all happened from when me and my brothers and a couple of friends, we went to a Poconos trip.
Burim Duka is the younger brother of 3 of the men convicted of conspiring to attack the nearby Fort Dix Army base. He explains that the FBI began following them after the family took their annual vacation to the Pocono Mountains in northern Pennsylvania in 2006.
We were going to the Poconos once a year, around the beginning of the year in winter time. We would go either in January or February. For 1 week we used to go.
Smile for the camera.
We went skiing, we were playing soccer in the snow. We were doing a lot of stuff. And then me and my brother, Elvir Duka, we went to Circuit City. We want everyone to have copies of how much fun we had.
Burim Duka and his brother Elvir had taken their home video to Circuit City to make DVDs. Included in the footage are scenes of the brothers and their friends firing guns in what they claim was simply target practice.
Allahu Akbar!
As they shoot, the young men are heard to say Allahu Akbar, an Arabic phrase that means God is great. When they're not shooting, they just seem to be having fun, throwing snowballs and posing for the camera.
What's happening, brother?
What's up, man? Allahu Akbar!
The clerk at Circuit City, however, decided to turn the video over to the local police.
That's how the case all started up, from the clerk at Circuit City. He turned it into the police turned it into the FBI, and they started following us from then.
When the men were arrested in 2007, federal prosecutors said their trips to the Poconos, as well as a later excursion to play paintball, were all part of their training for jihad. They said the group was plotting to attack the Fort Dix Army base near their home. 2 years later, 5 of the men on the Poconos trip, all in their 20s, were convicted of conspiring to kill American soldiers at Fort Dix. The Duka family are Albanians from the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. Ferik and Zurata Duka came to the United States in 1984 and lived in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn with their 3 sons, Dritan, Shane, and Elvir. As their family grew larger, they moved to New Jersey, and the boys joined their father in his roofing and construction business. At the time of their arrest, Dritan and Elvir Duka were married with 6 children. Now, with 3 of the brothers in solitary confinement in the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado, the children live with the grandparents. We visited the family in July and met Leila Duka, a 12-year-old who insists her father, Dritan Duka, is innocent.
I know they're innocent, we all do, but people out there just don't want to look into the evidence. Hopefully they'll come home.